The future of rock and roll is here as I'm joined by Dino McCord, vocalist and songwriter of Red Voodoo, a young up and coming hard rock band based out of Sacramento, California. Dino joins us to promote the band's forthcoming self titled debut EP. Dino, welcome to Metal Mayhem ROC.
Thanks, Walt. Thanks for having me, man. Stoked to be here.
Awesome, man. So listen, when this one came across our email desk, it caught our attention right away because the first thing that was linked up there was Red. The press note said that your band is endorsed by Sammy Hagar. So let's hold that thought for a little bit a while because we want to get into that later. But for somebody like myself, I'm 53 years old, right? So I lived through the late 70s, the early 80s, the heyday of hair rock and that kind of thing. So it's always really enticing to find that there's young guns like you guys that are coming up and following this tradition of metal. So I just want to know, basically, how old are you and your band members?
Yeah, man. So we're all like in our early 20s. So I'm 21. Guitar player, I think our oldest member, I believe, is Dave, our guitar player, who's 22. So we're in that 20, 21, 22 kind of realm.
Okay. And like talk about like your parents. Like I could be your dad for that matter.
Right.
But like
Honestly,
were your parents listening to?
Yeah, well, funny enough, so my dad was a bass player playing in the Sacramento local scene back in the day, and he was into the whole Queensryche and Vicious Rumors and all of those type, Iron Maiden, all those more kind of heavy theatrical bands. So he was into that, and growing up, I would see a photo of him on my wall, and I was like, oh man, that's super cool, and just some other dudes by him, in the band and stuff. But he really has helped me get into, I would say, rock and roll music. So I've had a really cool upbringing with getting into a lot of really, really cool bands.
Now, was your dad in the scene to the point where like he hung with some of the artists in the Bay Area scene? And like maybe as a kid, did you go to shows with him as a young boy?
No. So he shaved the hair in the 90s and joined a country band and stuff, and and met my mom and had me and all that kind of shit. So no, it would just kind of be on the wall, and he would listen to rock music, but yeah, it was just kind of short-lived in the early 90s, I would say.
But the getting to the point though, it's like, so you had a little bit of that around the household growing up, and I love the reference to Queensryche and Vicious Rumors, but like fast forward, like there had to be something about that style of music that drew you in. And like what was it about that music that at an age maybe 17, 18, you said, you know what, I'm going to follow this pattern and I want to pursue a musical career in this? Was there a certain band or a certain singer that you loved?
So honestly, when as I said, rock music was around when I was a kid, but it was really when my dad took me to go see Sammy Hagar in the Circle, and I believe it was in 2017. And then I've been to some club shows and that kind of thing, like Last in Line, great band. But he took me to go see Sammy Hagar in the Circle in South Lake Tahoe, and changed my whole perspective. I was a keyboard player, and kind of a guitar player, but when I saw Sam, I was like, you know what? I want to do that. I want to be that. That's the fucking guy. Like, Sammy Hagar is the shit. And ever since that day, when I got home from that concert, I started singing, and I would sing 5150, 0812, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, just in the shower, night after night after night, and even my parents were like, shit, it didn't sound too good in the beginning, you know what I mean? But, I just kind of kept practicing and was like, it got to a point where I was like, I want to kind of form my own band. So that's kind of, but it was Sammy Hagar, I would say, was the catalyst or the tipping point where I was like, whoa, I want to do that.
And now, obviously you were probably somewhat familiar with his catalog and the Van Halen catalog, but were you a big fan of Van Halen or
No.
Sammy, or it was really that concert that
It was
kind of
really
sprung
that.
you over the edge?
Yeah. I mean, really, and even to this day, when people ask me like, hey, what was it about that concert that just made you have a little switch? And I really, to this day, I'm like, trying to think back, like, really what it was, and I think it was just how great the band was and how great Sammy is, and it just made me be like, "Man, I wanna be that for other people." So, yeah.
So was that the catalyst for you to say, "Hey, I'm going to pursue sort of
Yes.
that melodic and catchy sound that's really synonymous with that mainstream rock from another generation"? Was that kind of your intention?
Yeah, yep, I was like, it all started, because we started out as a cover band, kinda thing, and I wanted to get guys that, liked, Sammy Hagar, and then I started getting into Van Halen ever since that concert and dig back into his old catalog, with all of his solo records and, his time with Van Halen and the Wabos, and I was like, "Man, I wanna get guys that kinda wanna play this music." And that's when the band really formed, and we went out in 2019 and just played all over the Sacramento area, just playing 4-hour cover shows, playing all Van Halen and different kind of other classic rock artists.
So that's kind of when the band was formed, around 2019 or so.
Yeah.
That's when you got.
Yep.
So who are the other members of the band? Are they also Sacramento area guys, like, or
Yeah, yeah,
friends of
yeah.
yours?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we got Dave Loyler. He's a guitar player, super badass guitar player. Andy Nathan on drums, and Andrew Edwards on bass.
Okay. Okay. So, I think one thing I will point out is in listening to the 5 songs in the EP, and then
Yeah.
let's say your 2 backtracks that were
Mhm.
put together in 2019. um, you know, that retro feel comes to mind, and you do a really good job recreating
Thank
it
you.
for a young generation. And we're going to get into the songs, but
Yeah.
I think this is something that's important for the future of rock and roll, is to have kids like you take that path forward, yet kind of make it your own. And I think of a band, maybe the first band in recent years that really has started to paving the map with that is Dirty Honey, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
you guys remind me so much of Dirty Honey because they carry that image. They got the cool
Oh
look from the
yeah.
70s and the bell bottoms. And I think you guys are doing the same.
No, yeah. I mean, right on the nose, man. I remember, even before Dirty Honey, I think really who started this like classic rock renaissance was Greta Van Fleet. Love him or hate him, they really paved the way for younger bands like myself. You get, people my age going like, "Oh man, who's Greta Van Fleet?" They can't go, "Oh, it sounds like Led Zeppelin." They don't probably know who Led Zeppelin is. So it is really cool that they're bringing that vibe and bringing that legacy and sound to a new generation. And Dirty Honey too. Love Dirty Honey, man. I remember when their record came out, I think in 2019, I believe, their EP. And we're following in their footsteps as well, and love Dirty Honey. They're amazing.
Yeah, they're that's what I love about your band and Dirty Honey. There's another band that's a little out of your area, out of your, let's say, genre, a
Mhm.
band called Haunt. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're out of
Yeah,
Fresno,
yeah.
so not far from them.
Well, what's
Trevor
funny about
Church.
that? Yeah, yeah. That's I've talked to I think it was his mom, Susan, because she's a big fan of Red Voodoo. And no, I love Haunt, dude. They're great. And yeah,
Yeah.
that was Sammy's bass player's Bill's son's band, and I would love
Yes.
to play with him
Yes.
too. Yeah, yeah.
That was Bill Church from Montrose. It's his son Trevor. We had Trevor on the show about a year ago because they toured the
Oh,
states with Satan and Night Demon, and they're
right
kinds of
on.
friends of Metal Mayhem ROC. But yeah, Trevor's a cool guy, and they're
Yeah,
more in that new wave of British heavy metal vein, but still
still,
carrying
yeah,
that path forward.
100%,
So
100%.
so now moving ahead in your history, right? And we're not going to forget your connection with Sammy. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
probably your first big, let's say, putting you on the horizon is you hooked up with Frank Hannon of
yeah.
Tesla. I love Tesla.
Oh, I love
Just to
Tesla.
date my age, Dino, I saw Tesla on the Mechanical Resonance tour. I saw him open up for Def Leppard in 1988.
I know,
Seen him
yeah,
a bunch of times through the years. One of my favorite bands, probably of all time. And when I was
yeah,
your age, they were like in my like top 5 list of bands. But how did you hook up with Frankie?
yeah, man. So it's a funny story. So kind of been playing shows, and in 2019, before the world shut down, I messaged him during class in high school. I messaged him over like Facebook Messenger, out of all places. And you know, I kind of got a little hint of, Frank was the top dog in the Sacramento scene, from my dad, because it was funny because he actually recorded with his band with Frank in the early 90's. for like a tiny, did like some demos or something. But, I've always heard about that name. So, I went, okay, I got a band together, we've been playing for a while, no originals, all covers. Let's message him, see what happens. So messaged him, and he was gracefully responded back and told me to come play with him at a local place called the Powerhouse Pub in Folsom. And met up with him, and I sang Getting Better. And it was just a total great experience. Well, the whole world shut down, right? So it was the perfect time for us to start working on our original music. And the first single we put out, Frank produced, was Rise Up. And, it was just about, I was living in downtown Sacramento, the whole world shut down, just kind of, putting my feelers out there about, what the world was going through, how I was feeling, how other people might feel. And no, that was really fun. Did a video for that and stuff. And it was really cool because with those two singles, we worked on Frank's ranch. And that's how we paid for our studio time and for Frank's help. So that was a really cool way, because we were all broke, teenagers, teens. It was very cool and very humbling, and great way for a really cool trade to happen. So yeah.
So you guys were in high school at that time, and if
Yeah.
hold on, I want to make sure I got this.
Yeah.
You sent a blind Facebook message to Frank, and
Yeah.
he responded to you just like that. Didn't know who you were, may have not remembered your dad, and he answered. How fucking cool is that?
It was crazy. And I was in class too when it happened, and I was like, oh shit, he responded and wants me to jam with him at this club. So I mean, it was crazy, and I was like, super nervous, and I had to learn Getting Better in 2 days. And I never heard the song. I didn't know who Tesla was. I mean, I'd heard of them, but never really digged into their catalog. But no, man, that was such a fun time, fun summer. Just hearing all the stories that Frank, would say to us about Tesla, like the Def Leppard tour and stuff, and and he really taught us how to write songs. That is the one thing I take away from all of it, is Frank taught us how to write hooky, catchy, great songs. And yeah,
the song "Rise Up." I mean, I'm not saying it sounds like Tesla, but I could see Frank's influence in it.
100%. Yeah, he was even in the songwriter of the song. Yeah.
Oh, and even in the video's amazing. It reminds me of, you guys are in the back of an old red 1934 pickup truck, probably driving through Frank's ranch now that you're saying it.
Yeah, yeah. And we filmed it like, a couple blocks away from his property. Yeah, no, that was it was our first music video, and that was so much fun. And yeah, it's a very Tesla track, which is really, really cool.
And then even the other song, "Bring It Back." I mean, number one, I love the way you worked like the title of the song into the lyric that says "Bring it back to a new generation." You tie in like the future of rock and roll with the past, but it's also an honor of going forward. But that song specifically too, it's got like that Tesla-esque like twin guitar jam out in it, man. And it's badass, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I was spinning it today. It's a cool little track.
Thanks, man. Yeah, yeah. That one, like I said, it was around, 2019, 2020, when we really when I wrote the lyrics to that song, and then we brought that song to Frank, and Frank produced that with us. And yeah, it's a really on the nose track about, what's kind of going on for the future of rock. So that was a really great and fun track, big drum intro, and Damon's doing the cool Eddie Van Halen tapping on that solo. So no, it was really cool. Pays homage to a lot of cool people in the rock scene.
And let me a question. I want to go back to your original text to Frank. What was it in the text that you wrote that you think caught his attention? Because if you just said, "Hey, yo, Frank, my name is Dino McCord. I'm a musician," he's going to be like, all right, whatever. Some other 17-year-old kid who, whatever, like not going to answer you. What do you think it was that caught his attention?
I think I did send him some videos of us playing live, and we've been playing, I think we did 40 shows in 2019. So we really kind of had our shit together, more because, we had my dad that was kind of in bands, so we kind of knew how it worked and that kind of thing. And, there must have been something that he liked about us, I'm not entirely sure because I don't really remember the message. It kind of sounded like that, what you just said, kind of the way. But Yeah. I think, probably at him seeing us live, could have been a cool thing. And, maybe, have Frank on the show, ask him, Um,
Yeah.
yeah, man. But no, I mean, it was, super fortunate and super happy that he responded. It was really, really cool.
That's a really great, like almost like a dream come true story. But I'm thinking about other things about now, like
Yeah.
let's say your generation or being a senior in high school. Like I have a 19-year-old son,
Hmm.
and like none, and I have a bunch of kids, but they don't, none of them like rock and roll because it's really not in anymore. Like they listen to country, a little bit of rap. My
Right.
daughter's into Taylor Swift, but
Yeah.
like okay, you got your band members, but like how do you bring peers your age along to get excited for music that, let's be honest, is not really popular in your generation? Like,
I
how did you bring them
honestly,
along?
yeah, and honestly, I think that's the big challenge for new bands. I mean, I think you put it right on the nose. It's like, how do you make something cool that maybe some, generation, kids my age are like, oh, that's not really cool. It's kind of a hard thing because, I really think like country and pop and rap are really what kids my age are really into, not so much rock.
Yeah,
But I think, like I
right.
said, I think, there's a weird, and it's what I wrote style about. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead, but there's this
Yeah,
this renaissance of retro coming back. With especially Gen Z, my generation or whatever, the mid 20s or something, mid 20-year-olds, with bell bottom jeans, and I've been seeing it all over social media. There's this real pocket niche, you should say, and that's really cool to see happen. But that's later, and that's later in the timeline.
oh, but you see it like in
Yeah.
referencing, let's say your guitar player, right? Your guitar player may be curious, but he plays a Kramer guitar. He's got an
Oh
Eddie
yeah.
Van Halen feel to it. I'm assuming he's influenced by Eddie Van Halen,
Oh,
correct?
100%. That's the whole reason we got together, was because I was a Sammy guy and he was Eddie Van. He started out on bass, and we didn't even know that he could even play Eruption or anything like that. So, um, yeah, man, that's why we really all got together, because of the love of Van Halen and the love of Sammy. That really is why we got together, which
Yeah.
is which is really cool.
So now let's talk about that story because then I want to get into the
Yeah,
actual songs on the EP. But
yeah.
this big moment happens, right? I mean, this is a fucking cool story, Dino, because you go to a show, you don't know Sammy, and you love his music, you learn everything about him, singing it in the shower, and the next thing you know, you're singing on stage with him. How does that happen?
Man, it gave me goosies after just saying that. It's weird. It's weird to think of it in a full circle environment. Um, what happened was we were busking on the street in 2019. And this was before, we really met Frank at the end of 2019. So it was all kind of around 2019. But we were playing Finish What You Started, we were busking in downtown Sacramento with our acoustic guitars, and a guy walks by and he's like, "Oh my God," and he videos us and he's like, "Hey, I'm the guitar player from Sammy's club in Roseville." It's probably about like 30 minutes away from Sacramento. And he used to have a venue in Roseville, Sammy's Beach Bar and Grill, I believe it was called. One of his chains. Well, he sent it to Sammy's security guy. He's been with them since 5150 days, named Ken Jensen, local guy here as well. Well, Sammy from 2019 to 2020, in that time frame, started hearing about Red Voodoo. Oh, who's this young band that digs my shit and covers my songs, and he was hearing about it. So for my 18th birthday, my parents took me to Cabo, because I was like, man, that's the Cabo Wabo, that's like that's Sammy's like house, that's Sammy's place. So my parents took me there, and between that time, I got to meet Ken, who was the one that showed my stuff to Sammy. So that was a really cool moment. But it was the last day. It was Sammy's birthday on October 13th. Now, this is 2020. So Eddie Van Halen passed away on October 7th. God rest his soul. You know, so it was already like pretty just surreal with all this, Van Halen stuff going on. Um, it was during COVID, so there was no birthday bash. And originally, when we booked our tickets in 2019, we thought, oh, there's going to be a birthday bash. We didn't know the world was going to shut down. So it's October, his birthday. I get a text from Ken at my Airbnb, and he goes, Dino, meet me at the Cabo Wabo at 2 o'clock. And I know it's his birthday. Like, I'm like, okay, all right, okay. And I was sitting there watching like Live Without a Net, because I was just pumped. It was Sammy's birthday, no one knew he was going to show up. So get to the Cabo Wabo, do a shot of tequila because I was 18, so I could drink and stuff.
That's awesome, man.
Got the little nerves out, you know what I mean? Because I didn't know what was going to happen, and next thing you know, I look up, Sammy's walking down the legendary steps, right? Gets his acoustic guitar out, and the very first song he plays is Red Voodoo off of the Wabaritos record. He's like, hey, Dino from Red Voodoo's here. And I'm like, I'm getting goosey just thinking about it. And he invited me up on stage and gave him a hug. And he's like, I've been hearing about these guys, man. I've been hearing about these guys. And let's sing a song. So I chose Finish What You Started by Van Halen. So we did that, and then he had me up for Eagles Fly, and we did a harmony on that, and I was scared. I mean, I remember, I messed up the first lyric to Finish What You Started, you know what I mean? I was so nervous, you know what I mean? Like playing with Sammy Hagar. I was like, holy shit, but it was like a room full of like 30 people, because they were really strict about who could be in there, and it was COVID and everything. It was just a really cool, intimate moment that I'll never forget. And that was really what kicked off us working with Sammy, which was really, really cool.
So you've worked with him forward. I mean, did that eventually land you, let's say, recording and working with the producer Jaimeson Durr? Because there's some photos in your press that show you on stage. I don't know if that was from the Cabo show, but I think it may have been from a different show. So you've shared the stage with him multiple times then, correct?
Yes. Ever since that, with building relationships between, with his team and everything, in 2021, Sammy invited us down to, he was in Catalina. So he was on Catalina Island, I believe. And he invited us down to the Cabo Wabo to play for all the people who were in Cabo for his birthday bash. So it was like a split thing. Like Red Voodoo's going to go to Cabo, Sammy's going to go with the Circle to Catalina Island because they were doing a big live stream. So, that's where we got to meet Guy Fieri and got to, Sammy told him to come see us. Met Chad Kroger from Nickelback, which is really cool. So we've built up a really nice network of people, which is all because of Sammy. He's really helped us out from 2020 all the way now, 4 years later, to 2024. And that EP, we went in there and was produced by Jaimeson Durr, who did the Space Between record and also did some work on the Chickenfoot record as well, all the Chickenfoot records. So we're super proud of that EP and very excited for it.
Yeah. Let's get into the songs on that. But before we get into that, I'm just thinking here, Sam's going out on tour this summer, man. I know he's bringing Loverboy out, but wouldn't it be nice if you guys got the third slot? Was there any consideration for you to get a half hour on the open?
I mean, we'll see. You never know. There was some talks, and we'll see. Anything could happen. You know what I mean? So, but at this point, no, nothing at this point. I think it's just Sammy and Loverboy show. But who knows? I mean, he's coming near Sacramento, so might have a guest appearance or two.
I don't know, man. Need to phone up Sam tonight after you hang up with me and be like, yo, man,
maybe,
I was just on a phone with Metal Walt.
Yeah.
Metal Walt said it best, man. We need to be on this tour. Give us 20 minutes, Sam. Come on, bro.
Hey, we'll do it for 5. We don't care. We'll have fun anyway, man. Yeah.
That's good stories, man. So
Thanks, man.
on to the EP. Yeah. So you got 5 songs. All 5 songs, in my opinion, are different, but you got a song like All Night Long that kicks off the album. It's got a 70s guitar riff, and it's like a show type opener, like song that drives with a great pace. So, touch a little bit about on that one.
Yeah, All Night Long was just basically, from a lyric perspective, listening to lyrics of kind of what we're doing, making connections, paying our dues, that kind of thing, and just doing what we love, all night long, really. And I mean, exactly, that's what it is. We really wrote it as kind of opener for the record, and just a hard hitting guitar riff. You know, it was either between All Night Long or KSA, one of those two. And we were like, you know, let's do All Night Long, right? That big old 70s guitar riff. So yeah, right on the nose with that one, man.
Well, KSA, since you're there, I mean, it's track 4 on the EP, but I love like that's a little like almost I thought of Sammy Hagar's VOA, you know, where it's like a
Yeah.
little acronym there. But
Yep.
you know, got the big scream in the beginning, lots of big riffs, you know, good guitar effects and shredding, big. And I love like the whole, you know, the chorus, kick some ass, and then the
Yeah,
KSA
man.
chant. That's right out of VOA, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, really, you know, we kind of when me and Dave we wrote that one, you know, that was really based off of you know, VOA. You know, the song 5150 we took inspiration from in that little chorus. Also in the 0812 track AFU Naturally Wired. Um
Yes.
also there. So yeah, you're right. We were kind of paying homage to all the songs that had, you know, VOA, KSA, you know, AFU, 0812, that kind of vibe we wanted to throw out there. So yeah,
Yeah.
man.
That's and I mean the one thing I wanted to comment earlier on is your
Yeah.
vocal style, right? And just my impression when I first heard the song Style, which again is your new single, it's your video. In my opinion, it's like your perfect FM friendly track.
Thanks,
And the
man.
video's cool because you're like you're at Amoeba Records, you're at vintage clothing stores, you're on the
Yeah.
beach, and then the cool like Red Voodoo magazine segment at the end. It's a cool little video, but
Oh, thanks, man.
I hear so much Paul Rogers in your
Yeah.
vocal,
Oh
and I don't
man,
know if
thank
you
you.
heard that,
Oh yeah.
but
You know, probably Sammy and Paul. Those two guys, you know, are my bread and butter right there. Love Paul Rogers, dude. Amazing vocalist with Free and Bad Company. And yeah, I appreciate that, man. That's a really nice compliment. Thank you.
yeah, it's right there. And I'm a big Paul Rogers fan. I love Bad Company. I love Free. I loved his time with Queen.
Oh yeah,
So
man. Yeah.
to hear somebody like you come in and you got that little bit of raspy, smoky sound to it, the bluesy sound. I was like, man, this
Man,
kid's got it, man. But
appreciate it.
appreciate that, bro. So they got 2 other songs on there. You got
Yeah.
Hourglass, right? So Hourglass is that's like it's a bluesier song. I say it's like your big bluesy sexy track. The
Right.
one word
Yep.
chorus, the vocal showcase, and then you have Mystery Girl, which is like that's your signature 80s main riff. It's a
Yeah.
giant melodic chorus, and it's got that perfect arena rock guitar solo. It's the song that covers it all, checks all the
Right.
boxes.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's the thing with the EP, you know, we wanted to do was, you know, we didn't want to have a record or our first debut record where every song just kind of sounded the same, you know what I mean? We wanted something that had a little variety, so it's like, oh, you know, there's something for everybody out of those 5 tracks. And when we have our full record, you could expect, you know, oh, which way are they going to go, which direction out of those 5
Mm-hmm.
tracks. But no, we're really proud of it, and we had a great time recording it. You know, where we recorded the music video in the studio is also where we, you know, recorded the record as well. So that was kind of a little cool Easter egg as well. Um, but yeah, that was at Hyde Street Studios in San Francisco. So we had a great time. Grateful Dead recorded there. Some Sammy record was recorded there. Some Chicken Foot. So yeah, we had a great time recording that record.
Yeah, there's like the ghosts of the past are there, man. You feel like the vibes of like these other artists. I mean, it's
Right,
got to be cool being you front and center, knowing Jerry Garcia was in that room, like,
right,
I don't know,
dude.
singing something, right?
Doing something, yeah. I mean, it was just being in the, you know, we were thinking about, oh, you know, let's record in Sacramento. We were like, man, we're a Northern California band, you know, like let's go be in the heart of the rap scene in San Francisco, you know. So that was really cool.
Now, is just a curiosity, Amoeba
Yeah.
Records, I went there once. Well, I think I was at the one in Los Angeles. I don't know, but is it still going strong?
Every single time, you know, I take trips to San Francisco all the time. But yeah, I mean, whenever we go there, I mean, there's always kids my age, you know, wearing bell bottoms and looking through
Yeah.
records and stuff. And no, it's a really cool, um, very cool atmosphere. It's going strong, you know. It's not a business yet, so that's the good news.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, that's good. Now, are there, Dean, are there other songs? Because we covered off 5 and then the
Yeah.
2 from the beginning. Do you have other originals, or I'm assuming more
Oh,
music's going to come at some point, right?
oh yeah, totally, man. You know, we just wanted to do a 5-song debut EP, test the waters, see where it could go, who it could go to, that kind of thing, use it as a tool. But yeah. I mean, we probably have like, I don't know, 15 songs, you know, that we kind of have ready to go, that I feel that, maybe not stronger, but, more developed, more mature songs, kind of taking a little bit more risk in the pop rock vein, like 5150. It's a very 5150 type original music. So, and that's the cool thing too. I want to touch on is that, you got Greta Van Fleet as Led Zeppelin. You got Dirty Honey, Guns N' Roses, Black Crowes, kind of feel, kind of AC/DC, Had a Baby,
Mm-hmm.
and we really want to be that next, more so Van Halen, Van Hagar, Y&T, Bad Company, all had a baby, Warrant, all had a baby and made a band. We want to be that for our next generation. So yeah, and hopefully, if we could catch on and and be looped in those bands that we love, would be amazing. So
And I see that you've opened for Y&T and Slaughter, and I
yeah,
think was it Everclear? So
Everclear.
you've been on the stage with bands other than Sammy Hagar. So
Oh
talk
yeah,
about like did you rub elbows with Dave Meniketti and Mark Slaughter and Dana Strum?
yeah, man, yeah. Rub some elbows, and we actually were on the Montrose of Rock cruise in 2022. That was a very awesome, humbling experience, and learned so much. And yeah, it's where we rubbed elbows with a lot of guys. Slaughter, the band Lit, who it's crazy that on Monsters of Rock, even they were like, "Huh, I wonder why we're on here." I was like, "Doesn't matter, you guys are badass," not my own worst enemy. Um, but no, yeah, we've it's been really cool, especially like, when I go on those shows that people like you who really are like, "Hey man, you guys are really great." Because like, we didn't live through the 80's or the 70's. And for you guys who are actually there to say, "Hey, you guys are badass," it's such a great thing to hear. We're going, okay, we must be doing something right, you know what I mean? And that's also really cool and really encouraging as well.
That's what it's all about, man. Because listen, like I said, I'm 53 and our
Mhm.
listeners are probably in our age range, but you know what? We love all our bands. We love the Judas Priests and the Iron Maidens and
Yeah,
the Deep Purples of the world. But there's going to be a point in the not too distant future where they're going to retire and they're going to go out. And you know what? I don't want to just be listening to music on like legacy, just picking out old CDs. I want to
right.
know that there's new music out there.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why bands like you are what makes me feel like, holy shit, man, I can pick up new music that
that's
I
cool, man.
like, and it's written from a like different generation.
Yeah, man, yeah, and it's still real, it's still raw, I mean, we don't use any backing tracks or any of that shit.
Yeah,
We wanna be what, our heroes did before us, just get out there and just
yeah,
be, you know.
yeah. So, um, Dino, the one other thing that we find fascinating is because you
Yeah,
are of a different generation, is the social media trend. And I saw this like number that Mystery Girl, I think, is close to achieving 300,000 streams on Spotify.
yeah, man.
Like, I can't even imagine, but like your way of promoting your band is very, very different than even just having a website. Like you have to have an
Oh,
Instagram, a Twitter. Like talk about like how you promote the band from in a social media setting.
yeah, yeah, I mean, a lot of, it's been really weird for, like, the past 2 years of how much social media has really changed. It's like, you almost feel like you're more of a content creator than you more a musician. It's a weird, but that's how you reach people nowadays on social media. And that's all I've ever known is how to do it. But yeah, I mean, it's basically, it sucks, but we have short attention spans, with just how things are today. And
Yeah.
you make these 5 or 6 second clips and promoting your song and putting a little text, you know, trying to, I mean, basically bait them to be like, oh, what's that? So they don't scroll to the next, thing. But yeah, yeah, it's a very interesting process. And I mean, it's fun, but yeah, I mean that's basically how you get fans nowadays is just through social media.
Now, do you have to do the work yourselves, or do you have somebody that like kind of helps you, like a press guy, or do you actually do the work yourself,
Oh no,
pushing
as
these
far
things on TikTok and whatever?
yeah, I mean that's all in house for Red Voodoo's on the social media field, because
Yeah.
that's really what more than a website, more than a press kit, whatever, your Instagram or Facebook or your TikTok is the first impression that a fan is going to have, and not even your music. You know, it's going to be like, oh, do these guys look cool? You know, is it something that I would enjoy? Does it entice me? And it's literally like, it could take a second, you know, a second of them going, huh, make or break a fan right there, which is crazy. It's insane, you know?
Yeah, so true. That's so true. So what are your live shows looking like this year? You guys getting out and doing regional shows? Like, do you do cover songs? You know, do you do Van Halen stuff in the set? Like, what's your show landscape look like for this year?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you know, a lot of cool original shows where we get to, you know, flesh out the EP, and as far as also just those 10 or 15 songs that we have also ready to go, throw in some covers, that kind of thing. But you know, we're really gearing up, you know, for in the future later on about, you know, getting on a tour. That's really kind of the next step is, you know, okay, got the video, got this EP going out there, like I said, using it like a tool, and then you know, going and hitting the road. So that's kind of the natural landscape of things of what's ahead. So yeah, super stoked, man. And we're going to Vegas to play with Hagar and Michael Anthony in May. He's opening up his new Las Vegas Island resort, and he asked us to come and jam with them and play some songs with him in the circle. So we'll have a good time out there too.
Oh, that's dreams come true, brother. For a young guy, man. I'm proud of you, man.
Thanks,
You've done
man.
amazing work. And listen, the EP comes out on June the 7th. Give us your socials. Where can fans find all about Red Voodoo? Where can they buy the EP? Give us the socials.
Yeah, man. So, you know, everything up to date with Red Voodoo. You can find us at redvoodooband.com, Instagram at Red Voodoo Band, Facebook at Red Voodoo, TikTok at Red Voodoo Band. It's all Red Voodoo. It's all love. Peace and love, man.
That's great. Well, just a reminder, get up to our website, metalmayhemroc.com, and join our community by signing up for our email newsletter, which is the best way to stay updated on new podcast episodes, interviews on our YouTube channel, CD and concert reviews, as well as reminders to join us on our live radio show Monday nights on Metal Devastation Radio. And we will get Red Voodoo songs onto our Monday night radio show. I can assure you that.
Thank you.
If you like what we're doing, please subscribe to us and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. So for my guest, Dino McCord of Red Voodoo, I'm Metal Walt, and this is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.